Okay, now before we can start putting content on our blog, there are several things we need to do to get it ready to go. First thing you're going to want to do is we're going to want to remove all the content that's on it. If we look at this blog right now, you'll see that it has just the example posts on it and comments. So what we're going to do is we'll go back to admin here, go to posts, and then we will just delete the post that's here. Same thing with pages. Find the pages tab, delete the page. Okay, so that gets rid of the content that's on there. Now the next thing we should do is set up our categories. So let's go back to posts again. And if we go to categories, we can set up the categories we want. Okay, so the categories we're going to use for starters are videos. And then we'll add that one. And articles. Now we can have further definitions below these. So under articles, I'm also going to have recipes, since I'm making candy. So we come down here to category parent and we go to articles. So you can set up your tree however you like it here. So I'm going to start with these. We have recipes and we have videos. And I think that's all we need for this particular blog. So what we're going to have is we're going to have video content and we're going to have written content as part of our blog. This is what's going to keep people coming back. Okay, then the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to settings and set a couple things up in here. Okay, we already did this main page here. Now let's go to writing. Okay, now in here, what we can do is add to the update services. These are the pinging services that will be notified anytime a post is made to our blog. We're going to have automatic postings and manual postings, so it's important that we update this list. I've given you a large list of ping services that you can open up and paste them in here. Okay, so here's the list. So all you do is just copy this whole list. And then we just paste it down here. So paste over top of the one that's in there because it's already in the list. And save those changes. Okay, next we need to go to reading. Okay, and then if you want your article feed to be full text or summary, what this is for is if people subscribe to your blog by an RSS feed and read it with an RSS reader, you can determine whether they're going to be able to get full text or summary text here. So that's up to you. It's actually proven that full text will actually get you more traffic to your blog, believe it or not. You would think that summary might because they'd only be able to read a snippet, but that just tends to annoy people. But it's up to you. You set that either way you want. And here we have the number of blog pages that can show at most on one page. And the syndicated feed, how many posts it shows on there for the most recent post. Okay, so save any changes you make there. Discussion, this is where you can determine if you're going to allow comments. Okay, I suggest that you uncheck the first one at least. I usually uncheck the first two. Now, here you can determine if you want people to be able to comment. If you don't, uncheck this one. If you do, leave it checked. And then down here, you can determine how you want this to work, and you can set up how you want the comments to appear, whether you want them to be moderated or just to appear on your site. I suggest that you have them held from moderation. That way you can be sure that if somebody's just trying to spam your blog, that you can catch it and not have to worry about it getting up there if you don't want it. Okay, so I always check these four here if I'm going to allow somebody to post. Now down here, you can automatically hold things in moderation depending on words that are in the comment, and down here is the same thing, but you can actually blacklist them for having the same words in there. And down here we can have avatars if we want, and you can set them up the way you want them there. Okay, so save any changes you made there. Okay, now privacy, make sure that it is visible to everyone. So if it's not set to that, make sure that you set it that way. I skipped past media because there's nothing we really need to worry about in here. You can take the defaults, which resizes the thumbnails to 150 by 150, and it gives a medium size for the same pictures and a large size. So if you want to change that, you can, but the defaults work fine. Permalinks, this is very important. What this will do is it will allow you to customize the way your URL looks, and it shows you a good example in here. Normally your URL on a page will look like this at the end. I have a question mark, P equals, and the page number. Whereas if you use the custom structure that I'm going to show you, what will happen is it'll have the title in the URL, so you get a keyword-rich URL, and this really helps in the search engine listings. Okay, so check on custom structure and then paste in the following term, and you'll see this term in the resources document. Okay, so it's category and post name. So we set up a video category, so our videos are going to go in there, so we'd have our URL / videos / the name of the video post, which is the title. Okay, and we save changes there. Okay, now you'll notice that some code appeared down here. We actually have to go and change our .htaccess file. So copy all of this. Now what we're going to need to do is go into our cPanel and edit the htaccess file. Or what we can do is we can use our FTP program and download one if it's already there, modify it and re-upload it, or we can create one on our own computer and then we can upload it using FTP, whichever is easier. Okay, so here's making candy, and there is no .htaccess file in here. It would be right at the beginning of the file, so we don't even have one. So what we can do is we can just open a notepad session like this, paste our content in there, then we can save this to our directory and we'll just call it htaccess. Now if we already had a .htaccess on that site, we would have to download it and then modify it and re-upload it, but there isn't one there right now. Okay, so we can close this. Now let's go find it on our local side here. There's our htaccess.txt. So let's upload that. And then we need to rename it. So just rename it. Get rid of this .txt off the end and put a dot at the front of it. And now we have a .htaccess file. Now, let's say that when we came into FTP, we saw that there was already a .htaccess here like we see now. What we could do is download it. Just right click on it, download it to our computer, and then we can go into our folder here and find .htaccess. There it is there. We can open that with, and WordPad's fine. Okay, and then you would make the change in here and save it, and then re-upload it. It's as simple as that. So basically just download it, add this code to the one that's already there, save it, and re-upload it over top of the one that was there. Okay, so now you would do this and upload it. It would tell you it already exists, and you would let it overwrite. And you would have your .htaccess file. Okay, that allows everything to work properly as far as the permalinks are concerned. Next, miscellaneous. And there's really nothing you have to set in here. This just determines where our uploads go to on our blog. Or you can give a full URL path, but you can just take the defaults here. Okay, we've already done all-in-one SEO and WP-O-Matic. Will be done when we start adding content. XML sitemap we've done. So the next thing we need to do is go to appearance and set a couple things here. Let's go to appearance. And then let's go to widgets. And widgets simply determine what content is on the sidebar. Okay, and now on this particular theme I have 4 sidebars. Let's go have a look at the site here. Okay, this is one sidebar, and now remember there's content that's supposed to be here, but we deleted it. This sidebar is over here. So that's sidebar 1, and then we have 2, 3, and 4. So this is what it looks like by default, but by setting widgets we can change that. Okay, so really the only thing we're going to be showing on our sidebar will be our categories. So move to categories. Okay, so this will show, in our case, videos and articles with recipes underneath it as we posted them. So that's all that's going to be in this category tree. Now I suggest that you show the hierarchy here like that. You can show the post counts if you want as well. Okay, so save that. And then you can close it so it just collapses like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to want to show is the most recent posts. Okay, so grab a hold of that one and drag it up into this space as well. And then you can set the number of recent posts you want to show there, up to 15 on this particular theme. We'll save that and close. You're also going to want a search on here. Now you can determine where you want that on your sidebars. I'm not actually going to use sidebar 2, 3, and 4 on this theme. I'm going to just leave it as it is. So I'm going to put my search bar actually in this block. Okay, and then I'm going to move it up actually to the top. If you're allowing comments, you will want to put the comments in here as well. If you're not going to allow comments, then there's no need. Okay, so put the comments in there. And you can set how many you're going to show. We'll save it and we'll close. Okay, so our blog is all set up the way we want it now. In the next video, we're going to go over monetization and content. Okay, now it's time to add some content to our site. First thing you need to decide is if you're going to have a static home page or if you're going to make it in the style of a regular blog. In other words, you can have a home page like on any regular site that gives them some information, or you can have it in blog style where your most recent post shows at the top and it just goes in post order after that. It's entirely up to you how you want to do that. So if you don't do anything here as far as setting up a home page, then it's going to act like a regular blog and your posts are all going to show up in a row down the page as people roll through. Now if you do want a home page, what you're going to have to do is go and create one first. So go to Pages, and then you're going to have to add a new page. Okay, this is where you put your home page. Now you can create a home page even if you're going to use it in blog style, because you should have a page that tells them about your site that they can click on along the sidebar if they wanted to find out more about you and your site. So you just put what you want on this page. It's just like a word processor. Put your title in here, put any content you want on the page down here. Okay, so I just created a quick home page like this, and then you can just tell it whether you're going to allow comments or not. I'm not going to on my home page, and that's all I need to do here. So we'll publish that. Okay, now what we need to do is if we're going to have a home page that's going to come up when people visit our site, we need to go to Settings and we need to go to Reading. Okay, now this is where you can determine if you want it to act like a static home page. This is where you do it. Just click on Static Home Page and then click this for your front page. Okay, and save your changes. That'll now be the page that comes up when people go to your site, just like that. Then all your posts and categories appear down the sidebar, but this will always be your home page. Now, if you don't do that, if you take the static page out and you just use your latest post, it'll act like a regular blog. So I'm just going to leave it like that now. Okay, so now that we have a home page, it's time to start adding some real content. Now the first thing we're going to do is set up our automated content. Remember, this blog is going to include automated content and content that we create ourselves or have created and put on the blog. This has got to be a good blog. It cannot be all automated content. Otherwise, you're just copying somebody else's work and it's not going to be interesting for people. So you need to come up with your own content, or you have to have somebody write it for you. And it's not that expensive to have somebody do it if you don't want to do it yourself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add video content, and that is going to be our automated content. Okay, now we're going to add automated video content to our site. This is going to help us because it'll make our site interesting, and it's also going to keep the search robots coming back all the time because our content's going to keep changing all by itself. Now on top of this, we need to add textual content, articles, or in this case it's going to be recipes on this blog. Every once in a while, every week or so is probably fine. So this takes a lot of workload off you by automating part of the content. To do that, we finally have to go and set up WP-O-Matic. So click on that. Okay, and then we just go through the setup process here. So we have to test SimplePy. So to do this, you just run this test. So just click on where it says this test, and it comes up and tells you if your server is up to date enough. Okay, and as you can see, everything is fine here. Okay, so we can close this window. Now, if you have a problem there, you're going to have to probably change your server, or you can try and install it and see if it works. Most of the time, you're not going to have an issue. Okay, so let's click Next here. Here, it's telling us about our time, and this is the UTC time, and this is our local time, and if our local time is correct, then we don't have to worry any further. So I can click Next. Okay, here is our code for setting up our cron job. Cron job is a job that runs automatically on the server and will populate our content for us. We don't have to worry too much about that right now. We're going to come back to this. Just say, check it, I'll be using a cron job for Unix like cron. Okay, so we'll just continue again. Click Next. And that's really all we have to do. Now, you click Submit, and we're back to the dashboard. Okay, now this is where we start adding campaigns. So just go to Add Campaign. And this is really so easy to get videos to come in automatically. You're not going to believe it. All we have to do is we have to, first, we'll set up the front end here. So let's say our first videos are going to be on making sugar-free candy. Okay, you don't have to set anything else there. The next thing is feeds. Now the good thing about this is you don't have to go searching around for feeds. I'm going to show you how you can get one to do this automatically. In the resources document, you will see this document called YouTube RSS text file. And all you have to do is copy this, paste it into here, and then just change where it says keyword to the keyword you're looking for videos. Make sure the .rss stays on the end there. So we're going to put sugar free candy. Okay, next we go to categories. and we're under videos. Now what we might want to do here is do a quick add, and we're going to put making candy for this one. Okay, and we'll fix this in a little bit here, but we'll leave that as it is for now. If we go over here to rewrite, this allows us to take any phrase and change it to any other phrase. And we don't really need to do this for this particular site when we're using this plugin. Okay, so let's go to options now. Now what we need to do here is set this to how often we want it to fetch new posts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to every 6 hours. Okay, and that's usually a good standard to use. You could use every 12 hours. You don't want it to come too often because you don't want your blog to look spammy. So set this the way you think you want it to work. This will retrieve videos 4 times a day. Okay, next we want to use the feed date. So that's the date on the feed. That'll be the date of your post. Okay, we don't want to perform pingbacks. We want a published post. The author, you don't have to worry about that. Max items to create for each fetch, and we have 10 here, and that's probably fine, but you can set that the way you want, but don't do too many. Post title link to source, leave that blank, and then whether you want discussion on these or not. Okay, we're going to leave discussion open on the videos on this site. That's up to you again. Now, up here we have custom post template. Click on that, and then under content we need to put in the link to the actual video, and we're going to say watch the video. So what we do is we put the permalink. You can see here we have permalink. So we'll copy that and put it here. Okay, and then we have to turn this into a proper link. So what we do is href equals permalink. Like this. Watch the video. Like that. Okay, so what that's going to do is it's going to create a clickable link to the video after it puts the content of the feed on there. Actually, we should probably have double quotes around this here. It'll work without them, but it's proper way to do it is like that. Okay, so we have our options set now. Now all we have to do is click submit. Okay, and you see here that it gives us an error, and that is because we have spaces in here, and spaces need to be put in as %20. That is a space in a URL. So put %20 where there are any spaces there. Okay, there we go. We'll click submit. And there it is. Okay, and then we can continue. We can add some more. So let's say sugar-free chocolate. And then go to feeds. Again, we put our feed URL in here. So we can copy this in. Actually, sugar free chocolate. Okay, and then categories. Chocolate. And nothing in rewrite. go back to our options, send this to 6 hours, and then we will use our feed date. And we'll not allow pings. Okay, so that one's ready. We'll submit. Okay, and we just continue like this. We can add a few feeds now, and then we can come back and add some more later. Okay, so that's how you do it. If we go back here to campaigns now, you'll see that we have two campaigns set up, making sugar-free candy and sugar-free chocolate. Okay, now what we can do now, let's go fix these categories. If we go back to posts and we go to categories, see, we have chocolate, and we could put chocolate underneath making candy here. So let's edit this, and let's put it under making candy. Okay, and then let's put that whole thing under videos. Okay, so we have videos, making candy, and chocolate. Actually, we probably should have that just under videos, I guess. You can put these however you want. I'm just going to put chocolate under videos. Okay, so that's how we can fix our categories here if we decided to add some while we were going and setting up our videos. Okay, so that's all set now. Okay, now what we can do is we can go and we can fetch those manually right now just by clicking on the fetch button in campaigns. Let's go to campaigns. And if we click on the fetch button, it's going to fetch the posts for us and bring them in. Let's fetch the first one here, making sugar-free candy. Okay, it brought in 10 posts. Okay, let's go visit our site. Okay, and here's our recent posts. Okay, now if we click on the links here, let's click on the first links. Okay, it brings in, oh, we have a little problem here. I didn't get that syntax right. There's a space there. So this didn't come out as a clickable link. Okay, so this isn't going to work the way we want. So let's go back and fix that. Just go back to admin here. Let's reset this. Let's edit. Okay, see that space there? We should have an A there, like that. There. Okay, well, now we'll submit. And let's go and fix the other one, because somehow we missed that. Okay, somehow we don't have anything in here. Okay, so let's just copy it from the other one. Okay, so copy this. And we'll paste it into this one. Make sure you have that checked. Okay, that looks correct now. Submit. Okay, we'll go back to campaigns. We'll try it again. Let's fetch this one this time. Okay, it fetched 10. Let's go look at our site. Okay, let's go look at our first post here. And you'll see now we have a link that says watch the video. And when we click on that, it'll take them over to YouTube where they can watch the video. Okay, so that's how the automated content is added. Now we have to set up the automated part. And again, we probably should add categories above the post here. But you'll see that now we have chocolate and making candy underneath our videos. Okay, so all these categories work. If we click on the chocolate category, okay, then it brings up our post in order as we see here. Just like that. Okay, so that's the automated part of our blog. Now we have to go and set up the rest of the automation now. So let's go back to the admin area. And we have to let's go to options. And what we have to do now is get the cron ready URL. Okay, so just copy this. And now we have to go to our cPanel and we have to set up a cron job. Okay, so what we have to do now is log into our cPanel. Okay, and then we go to cron jobs. If you don't have cPanel hosting, you will have a way to set up cron jobs. So let's click on that. And then we'll click on standard. And I already have some set up in here, but go to your first entry. And in here, first of all, paste the URL in. Okay, and then go back right to the start of it here. Okay, and then I'm going to paste some characters in front of here with a space. Okay, so we have curl, and then a space, a couple of dashes silent, a space, a couple of dashes compressed, and a space. I have included that for you in the resources document, so you don't have to remember it. Just make sure it is before your URL, your cron ready URL. Okay, and then we set this to every 6 hours for fetching, so we want to also do every 6 hours in our cron job. Now we just save our cron tab, and that's that. Our video content is now completely automated. In the next video, we will continue with our content setup.